Hello, I'm Catherine Sines, the president of the Rotary Club of Hudson. Rotary is a professional organization of a group of men and women who support Rotary International. We also join together by a common interest of service to our Hudson community, and we have a sincere desire to give back. We meet weekly on Wednesdays at Laurel Lake Retirement Community, 200 Laurel Lake Drive, in their dining room. We meet from 7:30 to 8:30 and would like to invite you to join us. For more information about Rotary, go to www.rotaryhudson.org. Enjoy the following excerpts from one of our recent meetings and consider joining us on Wednesday morning.
Sergeant. Master Sergeant, yes.
I'm Ron Strobel, the Sergeant at Arms.
Master Sergeant.
And we welcome all of you to the Rotary Club of Hudson this morning. Invocation this morning is by Bill Woolridge. One member of the three that's a vision. We had a vision this morning.
I'd like to borrow my glasses.
I need new ones if that's a vision.
Well, good morning, Rotarians.
Good morning. Good morning.
And let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for all that you do for us, for being able to live in a free country, in this wonderful city of Hudson with its great schools, beautiful parks, and fine historic area, and for this Rotary Club where we place service above self. We ask that you bless our nation and help us to resolve our divisions and differences. And thank you for the food that we eat today, that we may use it to serve in your name. We ask all this in the name of our Lord and precious Savior. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Bill. And to lead us in the pledge and the four-way test, Donna Kastner.
Hey, Don. Hey, Don.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the four-way test. First.
Is it the truth?
Second.
Is it fair to all concerned?
Third.
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
And fourth.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
And now, to lead us in song, A Voice from the Past,
Oh, no.
Hal Dessis.
All right.
Oh,
You gonna sing?
They say that Dick Pearsall's not here, so I guess I'm filling in for that.
Ah.
The Tribe, of course, is playing tonight, right?
Yes.
So we've got to root for the home team, don't we? So you know what song we're going to sing, don't you?
Right.
Okay. Take
Me out to the ball game, take me out to the crowd, buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I never get back, for it's root for the Indians. If they don't win, it's a shame, for it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, we're out at the old ball game. Yeah!
You better come back to Rotary.
Thank you, Hal. We missed you.
Can you be going?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning,
First on our list is Chris Barker to introduce our guests.
Jill, quick recess.
Good morning, Rotarians and guests.
Chris.
We have a lot of people joining us today, so when I call their names, if they could please stand up so we can give them a warm Rotary welcome. We have guest of Rebecca Moore, Jessica Harrison. If you could just wave to us, that'd be great. Thank you. And then we have Ralph Day joining us again, I'm sure soon to be new member. And then we have Alex Kellerman, guest of Catherine Sines. Good morning, Alex. Hal Dessauer, thank you for joining us. We have to work on it to become a member again, folks, okay? And then Ed Devlin, Dave Basil guest. Thank you for joining us today.
All these are members of Rotary.
Thanks, Chris. We just have a couple of announcements. Josie wants a couple minutes to talk. didn't even try as Zapataski.
Hey, man. Thank you, thank you. Rotarians, this is the rest of the story. A couple of weeks ago, I gave you the names of those Rotarians who achieved Paul Harris Fellow status or advanced in Paul Harris Fellow status. And now I want to name the rest of the Rotarians who are Paul Harris Fellows. And so here it goes. Joe Avella, James Field, Donna Kastner, Thomas Page, Richard Pearsall, Ben Rexroad, Larry Santon, Richard Warfield, James Young, and myself. And I missed last week naming George Snyder. He was among those who achieved Paul Harris Fellow status +1 since I became chair. Thank you very much.
Joe, I should be on that list.
Well, I named you 2 weeks ago.
I wasn't here, I was away. I was away.
You got bad ears, Phil.
So can I see it afterwards?
Phil, he said my name 2 weeks ago too, and not today. Don't feel bad. Next this morning we have a new member. Will Evan McCauley and Rich Warfield please come up and introduce our new member?
Oh, good.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you, Catherine, for that fine introduction. John, could you come up so we can welcome you as a new member? Catherine's going to read her ceremonial program here.
John Hopkins, on behalf of the board and the membership of the Rotary Club of Hudson, it is a great pleasure to welcome you as the newest member of our club. Thank you. We look forward to the fellowship that we will share, as well as your participation in many club projects that make our community, country, and world a better place in which to live. Rotary is an organization of business and professional people pledged to uphold the highest ethical and moral standards. Rotarians believe that worldwide fellowship and peace can be achieved when business people unite with the Rotary motto of service above self. Rotary activities exemplify the charity and sacrifice that one would expect from people who believe that they have a responsibility to help others. John, you have been chosen for membership in the Rotary Club of Hudson because your fellow members believe you to be a leader in our community and because you possess the qualities to champion the message and principles of Rotary. You now become an ambassador of Rotary, carrying the ideals of service to all within your sphere of influence. Our community will know and judge Rotary by your character and service. We will also look to you for inspiration as we strive to become better Rotarians. We now ask your sponsoring Rotarian to vest you with the distinguishing badge of a Rotarian and your Rotarian pin. We ask that you wear your Rotarian pin with pride, not only to all Rotary functions, but in all your endeavors as a symbol of your commitment to Rotarian ideas and our recognition of your contribution towards a better world. John Hopkins, would you please share a little bit about yourself?
Well, Mike Swain is the sponsoring Rotarian, so I guess in his absence I will be happy to pin John with his new badge. He officially received the Catherine Signs hug.
That's right.
That really makes it official. Thank you very much. I'm very excited to be a new member. I have been a Hudson resident basically for about 33 years now. We moved from Shaker, and I was originally born in Cleveland, grew up in Florida, but spent most of my childhood in Cleveland and Cleveland area. I really appreciate being a member here. My career was with a private steamship company. Our company had 10 ships on the Great Lakes, so my background is a business background. I'm a graduate of Georgetown University in Washington, D.C., and I had a very exciting career. I retired 4 years ago now. It's been 4 years, wow. And I really enjoyed my career with Interlake Steamship, and I'm very excited to be a new member here. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Next is Fine Day, and we always enjoy all his jokes and his ribbing, but today he's just awesome. And go Tribe.
See, Al,
Is that your boy
Al
from
and
middle school?
Ed, what you're missing. It certainly is a fine day. And as you can picture, again, we have a little baseball theme going today, so we will be having a kind of a double header in regards to our fine day. We have, last month, we raised money for the Hurricane Fund, and again, because of the devastation in Puerto Rico and the continuing problems in the part of the country that was hit by the earlier hurricanes, we're going to go ahead and raise money for that again. I have my lovely assistants, Chris and Donna, will be collecting the funds. So please make sure that you have your dollars ready to go, put them up in the air, and they will swoop by and steal them from you. The baseball uniform that I'm wearing obviously has significance because after Monday's game, Terry Francona called me up and brought me up for the end of this particular series. He happened to be in Kepner's last year and saw the picture on the wall from the 1978 HCR softball championship game. And if you haven't been there again, please, there are candles in front you can light and those types of things. Myself, Bill Curran, Phil Makita, Pete Guthrie, Dave Starn are some of the people that still live in town from that fantastic team. But Terry saw the Guns and the Pistons in that picture, and he knew I was a player. And since the team was struggling a little bit, he pulled me up. I went to practice yesterday, and unfortunately, as I was getting out of the car, I pulled a hammy. So I was in the training room with Edwin Encarnacion, Eddie and Eddie S. and Eddie E. We're going to be day to day, and there's a chance, pinch hitting might be in the forecast in regards to tonight's game. No pins and no badges. If you don't have your pins and badges, please put your dollars up, and our people will be. These guys all have. Phil, where's your pin? There's no pin there. They couldn't possibly. Okay, this is from the category of no good deed goes unpunished. During the Taste of Hudson, many of you volunteered. One of our members came early and helped me with setup. Jay Yard was there on one of the first days that we were getting things set up. But before I go into that, most of you know that I coach football, and I had a clipboard on the sidelines because I was the offensive coordinator. Had every one of the offensive plays on it. And what would happen, again, during the game in tense moments, or maybe a player made a mistake, it would leave my hand mysteriously and fly through the air, and gravity would take it to the ground. And in those days, clipboards were made of fiberboard, so they would break. So one of the teams at the end of the year banquet ended up presenting me with a polymer clipboard that was totally unbreakable. And it had a little plaque on it, and it said, "To our beloved coach and inspirational leader, may you have this clipboard forever." So let's go back to present day. Taste of Hudson. I'm in the Gator. I pull up to pick Jay up, and the Gator's one of those little things again, like an ATV. We're hauling people and chairs and tables and everything else. Jay sits in the chair, sits on my clipboard. I've had this clipboard for over 30 years. One clipboard, 2 pieces, $2, Jay.
And we do have a photo of you in your playing days.
Thank you.
Right up on the screen.
That's why my nose is kind of sideways. Okay, in the news, Mayor Basil, once again, as always, in the Hudson Hub, this time for Colonial Heritage Month, passing out a proclamation, so $1 fine for him for no pin. We have a picture in the hub of Tom Tobin, James Field, Bill Woldridge, and a check from the Hudson Community Foundation going to the school, and neither one of those people had pins, so please pay $1 there. Phil Herman, couple pictures in one of the hubs here I had. One was him bragging about his salary.
Sure.
Had a good move, Phil. And the other one was discussing the facilities plan, so $1 for each one of those. Now remember, you got a max of $5. It's a hurricane fund. If you want to give more money, that's great. Pro picks. If you look on in your hub, I think it's every Sunday. Rich Warfield is leading the contest. As you can probably tell, because he's leading, he doesn't get much work done other than trying to figure out his picks for the Sunday pro games. Rich, pay $1. Gail, back of today's hub. Yes. Sales leader and #1 in number of houses available. So you got 2 pictures back there, pay $2.
Speaking of bragging.
We have the Bad Boys Table quote for today. If things get better with age, then I must be getting close to magnificent. You guys all at the Bad Boys Table, that's where Jay's at, Phil, you guys are there. And basically, I think Dick Pearsall said that last week, but you guys get to pay this week. Bad Girls Table. And we have an extension over here now. Look at all the people over here. This is great. Get your dollars out. Phil's in there. Oh, my goodness. He's going to pay. All right. One of our members of the Bad Girls Table was talking about her remedies for her health. For better digestion, I drink beer. In case of appetite loss, I drink white wine. In case of low blood pressure, I drink red wine. When I have a cold, I drink schnapps. Liz asked, when do you drink water? I've never been that sick. I'm gonna pay $1 over there. We have to have some Pirates fans. Who's from Pittsburgh? All right, Pirates fan, keep your hands up and your dollars available.
Empty your wallet.
A great new book that just came out, and it's titled Pittsburgh Pirates World Series Champions by Ben Waiton. Ben Waiton? Ben Waiton? Get it? Pay $1 there. Now, oh, what a great series we're having. I mean, you talk about trials and tribulations. We take the first 2. Yankees take the next 2. I mean, it's been an unbelievable series. We have to have some New York Yankees fans real proud of their team. Raise your hand if you're a New York Yankee fan. Right there, Mimi. Anybody else? Oh, no. That's all right. That's great. What a series. And it's coming down to the last game, and if you're a coach or a player, this is exactly what you want to have happen. You want to be the person that steps up to the plate or the pitcher that makes the game that's going to save this part of the series. So this is a fantastic thing. Mimi, congratulations on the Yankees. I hate the Yankees. Pay $1. Okay, speaking of baseball, most of you know that Evan McCauley was a pitcher on his high school baseball team. What you didn't know is Phil Warburton was his catcher. I know, you would never guess it, but they were. Evan was struggling in one of the early games of the season.
What was that?
And Phil came out to the mound. He said, I figured out your problem. You always lose control at the same point of the game. Evan says, when's that? Phil said, right after the national anthem. All right, each one of you guys pay $1 for court sportsmanship there. All right, we have a baseball quiz. This is where, again, I don't lose any of my material. This is where we have half the room, and you guys are in this. Okay, all right, you're in this. If you get the right answer, the other side pays. Okay? If you lose, your team pays. Everybody pays $1. All right, first question. What do you get when you cross a tree with a Hall of Fame baseball player? 5 seconds. Bam. Just a quick 5 seconds. Babe Root. Oh, pay a buck, get those dollars up,
Get this for your 5-year-old grandson?
The joke page. Okay, over on this side. Why is it a bad idea to play baseball in the jungle? There are too many cheetahs. Cheetahs. Okay, all right, look over here. Okay, this one really about baseball. Jeez. All right, here we go again. On this side, why is there cattle on the ball field? Why are there cattle on the ball field? They're trying to look for the bullpen. Oh, this is baseball. Okay. This one, you guys are going to get this, especially David. He's on top of this one. What do baseball players use to make a birthday cake? Okay, there's 3 answers, so that you missed it. Oven mitts, bunt pans, and batter. Pay a buck over there. Okay. Jeez,
Well, they got a third right.
okay. Wait, it's a multiple. Yeah. All right. 2 men have been best friends for years. They both live long, happy lives, and unfortunately, one of them was deathly ill. His friend comes by to visit him in the hospital, and they discuss the good times they've had and the great memories. The dying man's friend asks, "When you pass away, will you do me one favor? Let me know if there's baseball in heaven." And his good friend, on his last legs, says, "Absolutely." A few days later, he passes away. A few days after that, his friend is sleeping, and he hears his buddy's voice. He says, "I got some good news and bad news. The good news is there's baseball in heaven. The bad news is you're pitching tomorrow." A few memorable baseball quotes. This is from Charles Schultz. You don't have to bring your dollars up for this one because you were so terrible on that other quiz. Beethoven can't really be great because his picture isn't on a baseball card. Here's another one. Well, it took me over 17 years to get 3,000 hits. And I did it one afternoon on a golf course. Hank Aaron. Here's another one. All I remember about my wedding back in 1967 was that the Cubs lost a doubleheader. George Will. He's a great baseball fan. Slump? It ain't no slump. I just ain't hitting. Speaking of the Yankees, Yogi Berra. Okay, Rotary members' birthdays. Craig Tallman isn't here, but his birthday was on October 3rd. Liz Ramsey on the 5th. James Field on the 24th.
That's my wife's birthday.
His wife's birthday on the 24th. All right. Find him a buck. And we have Bill Woldridge on the 27th. Is that correct? Okay. Bill's, one of his famous lines is, "Age is just a number of years the world has been enjoying you." Age is just the number of years the world has been enjoying you. So we're pleased that you've been around for 27 years. Wedding anniversaries. Kathy and Jim Hackney have been married for 28 years. And Lynn and Richard Nebbiolo, Richard isn't here, 52 years on October 16th. Rotary anniversaries, Jim Young, 26 years. Phil Herman, 4 years. No, never mind. Mimi Becker, 2 years. And Ron Barnhouse, 5 years. And let's have our birthday people stand up so we can sing a little happy birthday. Remember, we want volume. Stand up here. Happy birthday to you. Becker, are you up? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. All right, happy news. Pay a buck or two for any good news that you might want to spread to the rest of the group here. Look at those hands go up. Unbelievable. Okay, over the past weekend, we had 9 people get into the Hall of Fame. Hudson Distinguished Alumni Hall of Fame. We'll get to him in a second there. Evan? All right, mine's better. Dodie Snyder, Marion Albee, and Bob Motice were all teachers and administrators at the school district. Scott Sable, Channel 8 meteorologist. If you turn on Channel 8 in the morning, you'll hear his baritone voice. Brant Evans, head chef and owner of Blue Canyon and Pur Vita down in Cleveland. Rick Keller, president of the Margaret Clark Morgan Foundation, West Point graduate and Green Beret. Larry Hoy, liturgical artist. He designed St. Mary's new renovation. Greg Naples, another West Point graduate, Ranger and FBI agent, and Jerry Barnes, our police chief, or excuse me, our fire chief, and our EMS coordinator. So those 9 people got in, outstanding representatives of the Hudson School District. So I'll pay $5 right there. Evan.
All right, so I've got some pretty exciting news. A week and a half ago, so the 29th of September, I took my business to the next level. My dad and I resigned from Merrill Lynch, and we opened up our own company, Macaulay Financial. We're affiliated with Raymond James Financial Services, and we're located, this is the only downside, we're located in Akron now. So, and, hey, I'm going to still be in Hudson, so we'll see ya, and we've got a family business. It's really exciting right now, so I want to share that with you.
Anybody else? Boy, that's a lot of happy people around here.
That's advertising.
Yeah, fine them $5,000 for the.
I paid $10 for it.
Okay. All right. And the address and phone number? No. Anybody else? Okay, one more little quote here from Marion Albee, one of the people that was inducted into the Hall of Fame. She was an outstanding social studies teacher. She had a purse and a skirt that matched every single day. And the kids would get extra credit if she ever didn't match in regards to that particular day. Her sayings were called Albeisms, and one of her best ones was, "Days are long, years are short. I want you to enjoy each and every day, and go try." Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. He's always entertaining. I mean, I look forward to seeing what he's going to do every time. Before I turn it over to Dave Basil to introduce our speakers, I just want to remind everyone that there is a board meeting today after this meeting. So, Mayor Basil, would you please introduce our speakers?
Thank you, President Catherine. Today, we have 2 candidates for Hudson City Council. They are running for to represent Ward 4. And as I'm certain most of you realize and recognize, it is no small commitment to seek to serve our community on Hudson City Council. They will each have 3 minutes to address their candidacy. Following their addresses, there will be an opportunity for questions. They will have 90 seconds, a minute and a half, to address the questions that you have, so that if we can keep questions directed to the point, we'll be able to answer more of your questions. The first candidate that I would like to introduce is Carrie Keller. Ms. Keller moved to Hudson in 2013 from Macedonia with her husband and 2 young sons. She currently serves on the Hudson Economic Growth Board. After serving as a judicial attorney for the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Ohio, she joined the firm of Browse McDowell, where she has practiced for over 10 years and is a partner. Please join me in giving a warm Rotary welcome to Carrie Keller.
Good morning. Thank you, Mayor Basil. I'm excited to be here today. Thank you for allowing me a few minutes to speak. As Mayor Basil said, my husband and I moved to Hudson from Macedonia in 2013. We had 2 young sons and we moved here for the schools. Immediately upon moving to Hudson, I knew that I wanted to be involved in the community, so I looked for ways to get involved. And I ended up starting Leadership Hudson that fall that I moved here. My class was the class that did the solar panels on the Barlow Community Center. Some of you may be familiar with that. As well, we did a Leadership Hudson alumni program, and both of those programs, I'm happy to say, are a success. The solar panels have been on Barlow Community Center, and our Alumni Association is really taking off. After that, I became a member and was appointed to the Economic Growth Board in 2015, where I've been serving, and most recently I've been appointed to the Tax Appeal Board in 2017. As you know now, I'm running for council, and the question overwhelmingly that I get asked the most is, why on earth would you do this? And I'm not kidding you, everybody I talk to, why are you doing this? Well, the answer is really simple. I love this city, it's where I'm raising my family, it's where I have my home, and I really want to be more involved. I also think it's a natural fit for me. Over the years, I've sat on numerous boards and committees. Most recently, I completed a 3-year term for the Akron Bar Association. Prior to that, I'm the immediate past president of Summit County Victim Assistance Program. There's some information on your tables that has a little bit more of my background. But I've served in various leadership capacities over the years, and I really find that from my time in Hudson, this is really where I want to spend my volunteer time. I do work in Akron. I heard the boos earlier. But after work, I want to come here and I want to spend my volunteer time and my free time in the city that I live in. My professional background makes me well suited to the role on council. I've worked on a variety of cases over the years. As Mayor Basil mentioned, I'm a civil business litigator, and I also worked for the federal government for a number of years. I've worked on various complex cases, and I believe that I have translatable legal experience that I can use on council. As well, I've also been involved in a lot of complex mediation and negotiation, which is a skill that I believe I'll bring to council. As far as the views that I have, I am a fiscal conservative. I believe in keeping as much money as I can in our pockets. At the same time, I realize that we value high-quality safety services, and there are quality of life factors that cost money. In those instances, I believe the voters should decide where they want to spend the resources when possible. I support strategic economic development to support our tax base and take the tax burden off of the residents if possible. I believe, however, that should be done with the primary goal of keeping the city safe and preserving our neighborhoods. Again, as Mayor Basil mentioned, I'm a shareholder at my firm, so I have business experience. I'm also a property owner in Hudson, so I believe that I will be an asset to council in economic development in the future because I can see both sides. Again, I'll also bring years of leadership to council. I don't think this is something that can be undervalued. I think that even the best ideas, if you don't have the ability to build consensus and to work as a team player, the best ideas cannot get off the ground.
Okay. Time's up.
Thank you.
Next, I would like to introduce Beth Bigham. Ms. Bigham is a native of Northeast Ohio, is married to George, and is the mother of Fons and Greta. She was appointed to fill the vacant Ward 4 seat on Hudson City Council in May of 2016. Is a board-certified family nurse practitioner and holds an MBA in healthcare. Please join me in giving a warm Rotary welcome to Beth Bigham.
Thank you. Good morning, Mayor Basil, members of Rotary, and fellow citizens. Thank you for hosting the Ward 4 Candidate Forum today. It is my great pleasure to be with you. This morning, I'd like to talk to you about how I got here, what I've done while serving in this position for the past year and a half, and finish with why I'd like to continue. To start, in May of 2016, I was appointed to the Ward 4 Councilor position. After Council had advertised the open position and thoroughly interviewed 10 other qualified candidates. I was honored to be unanimously selected, and I've taken the job very seriously. Since the time of my appointment, I have diligently put my mind and energies towards learning the elements of the position and how to best serve my constituents. Because of my thorough and hardworking nature, I was asked to assist in creating an orientation manual for newly elected or appointed councilors. As I dug into the role, I would note which pieces were critical to do the job effectively. I further researched what type of content other cities had available and added these sections to the manual. One of the most effective means of learning has been to spend time with people like Alex Kellerman and Dennis Hannick. They have been so helpful in assisting me to put all the historical pieces together, like why the city bought this property or that property, why council made decisions about what they did and how it all fits into what we're doing today. In addition, Tom Sheridan, Frank Camarado, and Matt Vanzana, as well as other operational staff, have provided invaluable information relative to engineering, stormwater management, public works, infrastructure, and land development code and enforcement issues. It has been a deep dive, and I have been committed to asking appropriate and necessary questions, spending the time and assembling a framework that allows me to best serve. Truly one of the most rewarding experiences thus far has been the opportunity to meet so many of my constituents and advocate on their behalf. As a nurse practitioner, I've served as an advocate for the past 20 years. It's just a natural part of who I am. To be able to serve in this capacity for those I've met and for those I will likely never meet has been both a privilege and a pleasure. With all this upfront investment of my time and energies, I want to see that the ROI, the return on investment to my constituents and for myself, by finishing out the remainder of the term. Our city charter states that appointed officials will need to run for elected office at the next appropriate election to fulfill the remainder of the term. Election day is November 7th, and should I win, I will serve the remaining 2 years of the present term. You may ask, how will Beth Bigham finish out the next 2 years? By focusing on my 3 priorities: fiscal leadership through responsible, transparent, and accountable decision-making, enhancement of our quality of life through maintaining and initiating services, and open communications through ward forums, social media, email, phone, and surveys. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Beth. Now we'll have both Ms. Keller and Ms. Bigham available for questions. Again, they will have a minute and a half to answer the questions, and I believe we have microphones that will be circulated for the questions that you wanted to ask. So the first question, please.
Well, since I have the microphones, and I'm a Ward 4 resident, I'll start out actually with 2 questions. So one would be just how do you define what makes a good city council person? And then, because obviously my interest in schools, I'll ask your specific opinion about the levy that we're coming up with. And I'll just have to add whether or not you agree with apparently one of the city council members who apparently feels that we don't even need school buildings. So those are my 2 questions. Thank you.
First question for support, I'll go in reverse order. Support of the schools. I absolutely support the schools. I do have young children in the schools, but that is not the reason that I support them. My voting history throughout time has been to support the levies, even far before, and any school measures before I had children. I believe it keeps our property values strong, and I want strong property values. As far as the role of council, I believe that the role of council is akin to the role of a board of directors, where the board sets policy, makes strategic decisions, but doesn't micromanage the staff. I believe that the staff has to be free, and the administrators that you trust to do their jobs have to be free to do their jobs, and that council's role needs to be at a level to help fulfill that role.
Thank you. Your first question was?
Just what makes a good city council member?
Okay, thank you. I think what makes a good city council person is being able to listen, being able to reach your constituents and find out what their views are and evaluate the options and choices that you have before you. Yes, it is similar to being on a board of directors in the regard that you really need to look at the long-term plan and the vision and determine your steps to reach those outcomes. As far as the schools, I'm very committed to the schools and I support them. I think the schools are an important piece of the fabric of our community. They're why people move to Hudson often, so incredibly important. As an educator in the past, I've served and taught health policy at Kent State University. Obviously, I think education is very valuable. I hold 2 master's degrees. I have children in Hudson, and I think it's just important for our long-term future to support the schools. I have a sign in my yard to prove it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Other questions?
Anyone?
No, no question. James, you want to ask more?
Ask you about abatements.
Her favorite question in the school board.
I'd like to hear how you perceive the role of council in its board of directors as being related to the public service mission of an elected body versus an appointed body?
Sure. So, as an elected official, I'm held accountable to represent the citizens who elect me, and so I think that is an important piece that is different than if you're serving on the board of a hospital or another agency. I served on the board of Bethany Christian Services when I lived in South Carolina, and I can tell you right now the role is very different. The commitment, the burden that I feel to study the issues and to evaluate all the pieces and analyze them is a bit different than I felt when I was serving in another capacity on a board. So I take it very seriously, and I think that there's trust placed in this position, public trust, that I will uphold, and you know, I'm honored and I'm thankful that I've had the opportunity to do so. Thank you. I firmly believe that government is a deliberative process and that elected officials are the voice of the people. And when I say that I believe that it's similar to a board role, it's a policy-making role. So I believe that council's role is to make policies, but certainly the role is to the people. When you're on a board, you have a fiduciary duty to that organization. I've been on many boards. I take them all seriously because I believe I have a fiduciary duty. The role of a council person is different, so it's not fiduciary in the same sense, legally fiduciary obligations. However, it's still a role where you're a voice of people that elected you. You're accountable to them. But I do firmly believe it's a deliberative process, and I also believe that the voters need to make as many decisions as they can make.
I'm interested in what your feelings are and the impact that the Phase 2 will have on the historic downtown of Hudson with the proposed density that's coming in there, which will, adding 200 plus homes of one type or another, and the impact of having 400 to 700 more people right in downtown Hudson.
Sure. Thank you. I think that's a great question. Right now, the city is looking at both a plan for traffic patterns and parking studies that they have undertaken, and I think that will help answer some of those questions about what it's going to look like and what the impact will be. From the city's perspective, they have held many open forums to gather information from stakeholders, from citizens. And as one of the 3 parts of my platform, open communications, I think that it's critical to continue to listen to the constituents, the citizens, the homeowners who invested their lives, time, money, put it all on the line in Hudson. I think it's very important to listen to those people and to make decisions with their thoughts and concerns in mind. And I will continue to do that. Currently, we're in a bit of a standstill while we wait for the developer agreement to be signed, but I appreciate those concerns, and I will continue to be a voice for transparency. I actually went to a meeting the other day to hear the residents of Owen Brown Street, and they are very concerned, and I understand that. I am from a community where the economic development and the density really increased, and it did affect the community in ways that the residents were not happy about. If I'm elected on council, I would plan to try to work together, because I do believe there's a happy medium there, and I think that we need the tax money. We need to support our tax base. So it's sort of a necessary evil, and I think as much dialogue and concessions that can be made on both sides so that people at the end of the day are happy with the project and aren't complaining and upset about it for the next 20 years is the ideal.
Go.
Having spent 10 years as a township commissioner in Pittsburgh trying to justify a recreational center and ultimately getting that center and seeing the success of it, how do you feel about that in the future of Hudson?
I think that's a great question because it's something I get asked all the time. I've knocked on hundreds of doors, and I can tell you that many mothers and others
will say, can we get a rec center? and I've heard it in our own talks on council, just, you know, passing by, that it's a topic of mention. I think that, you know, again, one of the things that I stand for is being a fiscal conservative, and anytime that you plan for new services or new city initiatives, you have to evaluate the cost involved. Those costs can be economic, they can be also opportunity costs, quality of life costs. So we have a couple centers in town, and one could be said to be struggling. So sometimes the idea is, do we want to compete with one of our own businesses in town? But I think that ultimately it sounds like a wonderful idea. We need to balance that with the costs involved. So yeah, I think most of them, if you look around, are heavily subsidized. Is that something that we want to take on? I think it's, you know, up for debate.
I agree, that's a question that I heard often. I'm from a neighboring community where a rec center was built in probably, I want to say the late 90s, early 2000s. And in the beginning it was going to just be for the residents of the city. And then it was the residents of the city and the surrounding communities, and it just kept expanding and expanding. Because unfortunately, once the novelty wore off, and it's still used for purposes, I don't want to imply that it isn't, it's not funded the way that it was, and there's been some struggles there. So for something like that, I don't think it can be funded on membership and be guaranteed. I think it's something that does, I agree, has to be subsidized or it's not going to take off. But great job on getting yours to be successful. And
It was painful.
Oh.
Thank you for your wonderful words. I just recently did an exercise at work, and I was wondering what word would best describe you. One word.
What sort of animal?
I am doing Leadership Hudson right now, so we had to take these self-evaluations recently, and one of the things, you know, that came out is that I'm a, you know, fairly driven individual. It can be a curse and it can be a blessing, but you know, it's the way God made me, so I have to try to use it for good. Thank you.
One word.
Driven.
honest.
That's good. Okay, lacking any questions, again, thank you, Ms. Bigham. Thank you, Ms. Keller, for joining us today.
Actually, Dave, just curious, how many Ward 4 residents are here besides myself?
Ward 4?
Ward 4?
Yeah, we got 1, 2? Okay. So you know who you have to be nice.
And for those who are interested and can make it, I believe the League of Women Voters Candidate Forum is this evening here at Laurel Lake. So another opportunity to hear not only from Ms. Keller and Ms. Bigham, but also from other candidates for elected office in Hudson, and I believe also for some of the county offices. With that, thank you very much. Next week, we will have the honor of hosting our Congressman, Dave Joyce. So I encourage everyone to come. He was always an engaging speaker, and I'm certain that he will look forward to questions that you might have. So I'll turn it back over to President Kath.
Thank you, Mayor Basil. And we're wrapping up. I want to thank our greeters, which was Rebecca and who was with you? John, our newest member. Thank you, John Hopkins. Audio visual crew: Dan Rich, Tom Page, Tom Tobin, James Field, and our service learning student had a field trip today. They're at
Camp Ledgewood.
yeah, Camp Ledgewood, which some of our members are going to after this meeting. So thank you guys for doing that. The Rotobuck drawing today is $13, and the jackpot is $399. The last four numbers are 0564.
Birthday boy.
And for our guests, you pay $2, $1 for one or $2 for three, and then you do a drawing and then you get the money for that, but if you get the black marble, you get the jackpot.
Wish you best luck.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this is where it's good to get the black marble versus the club.
Get my money out.
And every week there's less marbles in there, so.
Yeah, we're losing our marbles quickly.
Remember, thinking isn't agreeing or disagreeing, that's called voting. Thank you for being here today and have a great week. Remember, there's a board meeting following. Thank you.